Gen Creator Panel sponsored by Mainline Overland. They're doing my van build, and you should go check that out outside. They are an incredible company. MainlineOverland.com. If you're into trucks and camping and off-roading, they are your people to go to. Now, we are on the stage. I am sharing the stage with some incredible folks that represent what I think is the next generation of huge creators. These guys have been out here hustling, making a name for themselves and earning it every day. And I'm going to introduce them. On my left, we've got Gammage. This man is one of my favorite people in the entire industry. Give him a huge round of applause. Gammage is such a good dude, and look at that glorious beard. I love it.
Thank you, John.
And next to him, we have Tactical Advisor. Woo! That's right.
Look at that hair.
To my right, we have Luke from TFB TV.
Woo! What's up, guys?
Then we've got the juggernaut known as Weapon Vault.
Yeah.
Next to him, we got Tactical Santi.
Woo!
And the man, the myth, the legend, Tactical Considerations.
Woo!
Now, the way this is going to work is we have a microphone over Mya and one over Mya, and y'all can stand up and go to the microphones to ask a question. But first, I'm going to kick it off, and I'm going to ask these guys a question while y'all go to the microphones. And if you do ask a question, you may or may not get some extra tickets right over here. But in the meantime, I want to ask the panel, what is the biggest challenge as a newer creator in the space? What are you running into that is difficult for you? Anybody can jump on that.
I'll take it. Take it real close. All right, so the most difficult part about getting into this space is that YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, basically any of your social media out there is doing their damnedest best to make sure you don't get anywhere in the grand scheme of things in terms of advertising, in terms of getting an audience. So just making sure that other creators are sharing knowledge with one another. I mean, we've been talking, everyone on this panel here, we've been talking about YouTube is the biggest thing. And sharing that information, your tips, your tricks about what we can do to kind of circumvent the blocks that are put in our way is the biggest help to anyone at this level of the creator space.
That's a great answer. Anybody else want to jump on that?
Yeah, to piggyback off of that, honestly, guys like this in the community and John and the events like this are a huge help when starting as well. You know, when the platforms aren't helping you, it's really great to have guys like this to be able to help you as well in sharing content.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think it's time to take a question. I think so. On the right, my man Jayweth.
Hi, Jayweth, Josh, Tampa, Florida. My question is, what inspired you to do this?
Okay. What inspired you? Mills, why don't you go?
Yeah. So for me, I just from my background.
Pull that mic closer.
Talking to the mic. So from my military background and law enforcement background, I just saw the really weird kind of things going on YouTube, and I kind of figured, well, I've been the recipient of some really cool training and really good experiences, and I figured I would just kind of share that around. And plus, I mean, get the chance to beat up guns and optics and everything else is kind of every kid's dream, so why not? You know.
Anybody else?
Yep, I got it. So for me, it was when I went to get my concealed carry license, they made me watch a movie, like a 2-hour movie, and they didn't even have me shoot or anything. So then I have to go out of my way, start exploring online to figure out stuff that they didn't teach me on there. So I decided to become an instructor and put everything that I know out there and facilitate all the information that I gather on my own to all these other people that wanted to do the same thing as me. So for me, it's just, you know, providing all this information and knowledge about firearms and just making it better for the community.
That's rad, man. I'm so happy that there is a next generation. Like, I'm so happy that like it didn't just stop and YouTube didn't crush us into oblivion. I'm so happy to see guys trying new things and doing things that weren't possible when I started. Anybody else want to jump on that? What inspired you?
I'll jump on it. No, did he? One of the things that inspired me to be in this space of just like 2A and social media and that type of thing is the camaraderie of other individuals. Like, I wanted to do things with others. And
shout out to Squad Drills.
Squad Drills in the house. That was Jayweth. One of the things that we do very well and what inspires me to continue going in this space is I love guns. I love freedom. I love the Second Amendment. I love doing this, and being able to do it with other individuals is launched massive through social media and these formats. So that's where the bread and butter came from.
Yeah, for me it was it's a hobby, you know, like everything that I've been into started out as a hobby. So my whole social media identity started off in the automotive space. Was doing that for a long time, and so when I got old enough to obviously own guns, I took what I learned from learning social media in the automotive space and was like, all right, well, I like guns too, and I'm gonna do the same thing. And so it's like anything else, like Gammage was saying, it's the community of it all. I'm not an expert in anything that I do. I know enough to get by. I know enough to be dangerous, so to speak, but I'm always willing to learn, and I'm never gonna make myself out to be any sort of expert. So when I do stuff, I'm always, you know, doing it in the intent of it just being something that I'm interested in. Always open for, you know, advice and, you know, learning more, which is, you know, makes it good because you meet new people, all these guys on this panel, and it makes the community even stronger, which is really cool. So
Also, shout out to all the car guys in the room. Yeah, yeah. Most of us up here are car guys in some way, shape, or form, and that's a lot of fun. That's another thing we all bond on. Okay, let's take another question over here.
Thanks very much for all the content that you're putting out. It's absolutely fantastic. What are you seeing? What differences are you seeing in the interest between the newer generation of shooters and the older generation of shooters? And how are you sort of cultivating your content to cater to that difference in generation?
That's a good one. Great. I'll take this one.
that's a really good question.
So this room right here is about 50% men and 50% women, and I have a girlfriend, and she's a tiny little thing, and firearms are the great equalizer. And I think the women part of the industry on a training level and on a representation level is a little bit underrepresented right now. And so a lot of my content that I try to do, I try to include a woman's perspective on things like concealed carry, firearms that are comfortable for them, ones they can shoot practically, and of course I'll seek out a lot of information and help from women, good women in the industry. There's plenty of them out there. Honestly, I'd like to see more of them on this panel, actually.
I
This
tried.
next-gen panel. I know you tried, John.
I
Don't
tried.
hate on John. It's not his fault.
It's
but
not.
I think honestly, just widening your demographic beam to people you typically wouldn't normally, I guess, either talk to or cater to in the gun sphere is one way I find that this next generation is doing a much better job of in comparison to previous generations.
Sure. Anybody else?
Yeah, I've seen the biggest thing that I've seen, especially in the past couple months, is, and it's probably due to the tactical games and stuff, is not only more and more people wanting to actually go out and like do fun training and kit, but the night thing is getting really huge. Like I have had so many requests from people who are like, what night vision do I buy? What laser do I buy? And it seems to be that that's something that people really want to get into because, you know, concealed carry is like the gateway drug. And then all of a sudden you want to go out and do a competition. And then all of a sudden you want to go out and take some tactical training classes. And then all of a sudden you get into long range. Then all of a sudden it's a night game. And then all of a sudden you've got $40,000 worth of gear and you realize you really better use it because you spent all that money on it. So
Like, how did I lose my house?
I shouldn't have put that on the credit card, honey. Sorry.
All right, great question, brother. Thank you. Over here.
So in regards to what Gammage was talking about with the camaraderie, this is kind of a fun question, but in regards to like swag and things that you're putting on your body while you're out and about, what do you guys try to exude of like, I'm a gun guy and come talk to me, and like, how do you if you curate that kind of like image, how do you do that?
That's a good question. Anybody want to jump on that?
I try not to look like a gun guy. I'm wearing
Yeah, same.
5-inch inseam shorts right now and a T-shirt from 511, and that's it.
That's fair.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not that type of guy that goes around saying, "Oh, I have a gun." But yeah, I just try to. When I go training, I just try to wear exactly what I wear when I'm going outside. You know, so to make it more realistic. I do carry a gun every single day of my life. I'm also an instructor, and I just wanted to become proficient with the gear I walk around every single day.
Yeah, I would say the number one rule of Fight Club is to not talk about Fight Club. And so when you being out and about, complimenting others on a shirt that you're familiar with, like you see something or you see a logo on a shirt, you know the company that they're representing, just speak toward it. That way now it's an acknowledgement that I know. I'm not asking you, hey, what you carrying right now, compact or full size? Like, it's not that, but at the same time, I'm acknowledging what you have on. Now, when it comes to me and what I'm choosing to wear out and about, my goal is to represent companies that represent us and show love to us. So those companies in the 2A industry that are doing that particular thing, I want to wear those brands. I want to showcase their values at the same time as displaying ours. So now when you see me out, if you recognize the brand and you recognize and support what that company is doing, hey, I see the shirt, you know, just a nod and it's good. Like, we don't have to go into no long drawn thing, but yes, sir, that's what I feel.
How about you, Zach?
No, absolutely. I think, like Gammage said, supporting the companies that support the community as well. Making sure that you're putting your money towards a company that is also bringing back to the community is a huge thing. And just wearing what's comfortable. Don't think too much about it. Or you know, when I go out to the range, sometimes I wear some really goofy stuff. But it's really just what I want to wear and whatever's comfortable at the time. So.
I think the nice thing is a lot of the gun-related companies are realizing that not everybody wants to be loud and proud. Some guys do, and that's fine. And I think the choices have only gotten better for what you can wear. And, you know, you don't necessarily have to walk around as a billboard, you know, but you can subtly, like, you know, he's got a 511 shirt on. If you see that, you can subtly know, oh, yeah, that guy's one of us, that sort of thing. And I think a lot of brands have started to realize that that's the way to go. Let's take another question over here. Thank you.
Yeah, my question is, as I'm trying to research products, more of the creators I know kind of pigeonhole into their territory where they're familiar, and it's not easy to find different videos on like newer tech, like if you're trying to research thermal or night vision and stuff. Is there a way we as a community can help push to like broaden horizons on what you guys review, or other channels you can recommend that we can see some of this newer tech, that we don't only get the manufacturers like demo video, or like somebody who's focused particularly on like night vision, they'll just do reviews for hunting, but like a broader gun community video.
Okay.
Yeah, I can take that one. So I've got like more night vision, more thermal and stuff coming around like that. But one of the problems there is the amount of space, location, and the ability to run that gear. Most ranges will not allow you to operate that stuff during those hours, and a lot of times they won't let you film. So that's the biggest hurdle. I've got the, I guess, ability to do that, and I saw that, so that's coming. But that's a huge holdback. As far as the brands, the costs of those things are drastically expensive, so it's very hard to get those units out to people. And the ones that have the ability to run that stuff on ranges at night or in thermals are often overloaded, unfortunately. So they can't test every single one that's out there.
I also find that a lot of times you need, especially with that type of device, you need a different skill set, a different knowledge base on what makes one good, and not everybody has that. You have to have like a certain amount of time with that stuff to know where the shortcomings can be, to be able to identify them. And not everybody has that. So the type of person you're looking for and you know, like trying to broaden out is difficult, because it's just something like a lot of us up here, you know, I've been doing this for 9 years full time. I would say that I'm not part of the next gen. However, I'm still learning, and I think a lot of these guys are still learning that. And it's one of those things where in like 4 or 5 years, you'll see everybody starting to understand that stuff, because everybody's trying to get to that part where we're going, okay, I understand this, I can speak intelligently about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, absolutely. With that, especially with new technology, you really, for me, I want to take the time to be able to understand that fully, so then I can articulate that to my viewers in the best way possible in an honest review. And that is very important for me. So that review is going to take a lot longer to be able to at least get out to you. Unfortunately, because you obviously want to know the information as soon as possible, but I want to be able to be as comfortable as possible with it first, and that takes time.
So I've
Great
got,
question.
I've
Go
got,
ahead.
I've got a really to answer the second part of your question. Where to find these types of people who actually have invested the time and the energy and the hours of research it takes to properly delineate which one of these products is worth buying. I found, you guys are going to hate me for this, but does everyone out here remember forums when forums were a huge thing?
Unfortunately.
Forums are the best place to find all that esoteric knowledge you're looking for. And if you just want 2 channel recommendations, write these down. Hop, H-O-P, on YouTube, and Brass Facts.
Yep. Rad. Thank you. Great question. Let's go back over here.
Nice TFU TV plug.
All right, I have a 2-part question. I was curious what the least liked thing of being a content creator is for you guys, and also what would be a good tip to give an aspiring content creator if you could just
That
give
question.
them one tip.
I'm kidding.
Okay. So what was the second part of that? One more time.
If you could give someone one tip that's an aspiring creator, what would it be?
So worst part and a tip.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna go down the line. Everybody, keep your answer ultra short. Mike, why don't you kick it off?
The least favorite thing is when you get something that should work and it doesn't.
Wait.
The least favorite thing is when you get a product or a part and it should work really good, but you got the one that was bad.
Oh, yeah.
You got the broken one, and I've had that a few times. The second part is for aspiring creators. I believe I told my man right here when he asked me last year, you just got to turn the camera on, man. You just have to start somewhere, and you'd be surprised how forgiving the audience will be. Your audience wants you to be successful. So,
Yeah. It's always, I always get the people always tell me like, oh, I don't have the gear, I don't have the right camera, or I don't have the studio or space or whatever to start doing video. I don't think that's an issue. You can start literally facing down the wall, just talking about a product that you enjoy and like with your phone. And that just put it out there. There's information, that the aesthetics of the video at the beginning, it just doesn't matter if the information you're providing is good. Because we're missing a lot of information on the internet. Like I myself go to YouTube sometimes to look for stuff and videos and information that I need, and I just don't find it. And I don't care about the aesthetics because I just want the information to provide, right? So just like Mike said, just literally just turn on your camera and start talking about stuff that you like and just put it out there, man.
Yeah, I would just a third that, it's like anything else. You're never going to get anywhere if you don't start. So, again, you don't have to worry about anything being pretty from the beginning, right? You just have to start where and you learn as you go along. You figure out what works for you, and you're going to build an audience from it. And then coming to events like this and networking with people, networking is going to get you further than anything else. It's more than what you know. Knowing people is going to get you where you want to be.
I'd say the least favorite part for me is, as a firearms reviewer, I don't get to shoot my guns very often in comparison to guns I'm reviewing, because that's what I'm touching the most. And the second part of it, for an aspiring creator, review stuff and do videos on things that you like and that you enjoy, because when you put that on video, and it'll show through the screen that people that you're enjoying it, and that's what we're all here for, because we all love guns, right?
Yeah,
that's
There we
right.
go.
Yeah.
Get that man out of this room.
Opt out of this one.
If I can go back, and I would say the one thing that sucks about being, at least, and this is my perspective in my situation, is that I don't have access. I like shooting outdoors. I hate shooting in indoor ranges because you're so restricted on things you can do. They don't want you rapid fire, and you're worried about the dude sitting in the bay next to you. You don't know if he's qualified to be there or whatever.
You can't shoot dragon's breath inside.
You can't. Yeah, exactly. You can't do that. And so, for me, I don't get to shoot nearly as much as I'd like to, and that gets on my nerves, right? I like to shoot outside, so going to my buddy's range or his farm, it's an hour and a half away from me, and we have to schedule our times to coincide with one another, and so I may only get to his farm once a month, and doing all the one shooting in one day, it gets tiresome. So if I had the access to be able to shoot more, that would be ideal for me. So that's probably the worst part about my situation.
I'd say the worst part would be what a lot of people don't see is the time that it takes. It takes a lot of time away from your family, especially when you work a full-time job. So that's the worst part for me. The one thing that I would give people as a tip would be to don't try to be somebody different or somebody that you're not. Be yourself, and people will follow you for who you are.
That's a great piece of advice.
Amazing answer, Zach. My least favorite thing about 2A and just the content is that, similar to what Zach said, as a father, as a working full-time. This 2A is not my full-time job. So as a full-time worker, I still have to go to somebody else's job and clock in and do that whole thing. So I don't get to travel as much to events. I don't get to attend many events similar to this right here. So that would be my least favorite thing about it. But the piece about the tip for the inspiring content creator, if you're doing it alone, you're doing it wrong. Like just by yourself, man, there's so many other individuals in your city, in your neighborhood, maybe not in your neighborhood, but in your city, that they itching to do something bigger than themselves, just like you. And as any of the other panelists have already said, turning on your camera and, I don't know, start not just going to pawn shops. Go to all the pawn shops in your city and look at them and review them. Just talk about what you like about that used gun, or what you find your niche and just run it out. Because there are a whole bunch of gaps out here. So for the inspiring individual, man, just do your thing, but do it with other individuals. Be open about what it is you want to do, and there's others that'll come alongside you and do it.
Great answer again. Hey, Orly, why don't you spool up a question? In the meantime, I just want to give a shout out to our sponsor for this panel. That's Mainline Overland. They're on the East Coast, and they sell some of the best overlanding, camping, off-roading products that you can get, and they're building that giant yellow van outside. That's mine, and they are building that, and it is absolutely incredible. You can go anywhere in the world and do amazing things, and they can help you do it. The website is mainlineoverland.com. Let's get an online question. There's a bunch of people out there watching live. Shout out to everybody there. Orly, what's the question, brother?
That's actually a good question, kind of personal, but generally a good question. Do you find that friends, family, or the people that you know or knew prior to becoming content creators are supportive of your work?
I'll jump first. I would say the answer, I don't know how to directly answer that question. So indirectly, what I would say is, if you're making content for your friends, you're making content for the wrong people, because you're on a platform that is global. Your friends aren't global. Your friends, most of the time, are going to be either your yes men that just going to encourage you through whatever, and you need them for that. But if you're making content just for, Zach and I are friends outside of this. If I'm making content just that Zach give me the thumbs up on it, then that's going to be not a good look. I want to make the content that others are going to support. The same thing I'm looking for, somebody else is looking for out there. So I would say if the goal is to only make content that your friends support, that's the wrong aim to do that. Like, make content.
Anybody else?
And so my friends and family have been incredibly supportive, but also helpful with constructive criticism, which I think, going off what you're saying, is incredibly important to somebody that can be honest with you as well. And if you're around somebody that's just going to be blindly supportive or not supportive of the things that you're doing, then maybe that's not the people you want to be around and surround yourself with.
So I have this is something that I think is really important. I try to surround myself with people that will tell me when I mess up. And I don't want to make content for any one specific person. I want to make content that appeals to a broad audience, and I want to have people that go, this is not good enough. I want to have people that keep me honest and keep me pushing. I think that is one of the most important things, and I find that the people that are like that for me are more supportive because of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, I think just what Zach said, that family's always going to be supportive, at least in a broad majority of cases, but they're also your biggest critics, and you should take their advice to heart. They're out there looking out for you because they love you.
Absolutely.
That's a great question. Thanks to whoever asked that online. We really do appreciate you guys out there watching. I mean, this is incredible. We come together in the middle of arguably nowhere. Sorry, Grinnell, Iowa. We are in the middle of nowhere, and this room is full. This is full to the brim. You guys are sitting here watching, being a part of this, and this is absolutely incredible. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's take a question over here. Bull Armory hat.
Yeah. So with just being realistic, with like TV and radio kind of being like well, so far as cable being like dead space kind of now, as influencers, so far as like YouTube and doing podcasts and everything like that, do you feel like you guys are the forefront to people getting into the community so far as, you know, outside of gun shops and everything like that?
What would you say?
I'd argue that. You know, print media, it's around, but I think like the newer generation of people that are looking for content aren't going to stores to read a magazine. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like that was probably the initial entry point, right, for information. But people want stuff quick. They want to pull it up on their phone. You know, they think about something like, oh yeah, and they Google it, right? Or they go scroll through Instagram. So yeah, I would say that digital media, us, right, we are the first line of information that people want to get with anything that they're looking for. I'd argue that.
Anybody else?
I mean, I'd say that like new media is kind of like a lot of you have asked before. New media is hard to get into, and it's also, but it's on the converse side. It's the internet, and it's always going to be there, at least as far as I know. But old print media, that disappears. Old TV shows, old episodes of news shows, those all disappear. This is instant access to information, like he was saying. And for someone who has a random question, his YouTube video, Zach's YouTube video, Gammage's YouTube video, it might be the first thing that pops up for them, and that's their gateway drug into the firearms industry.
That's right. That's right. I think the easy answer is absolutely this is the forefront. In 80 different ways, it's the forefront. Whether it's somebody trying to learn about guns, somebody learning about the Second Amendment, somebody that's curious, it's always the forefront because nobody goes to the television anymore for honesty. That talking box does not give honesty. The internet does. The internet is undefeated with honesty. All right, let's take another question. Over here, brother. Thank you.
So we all know that YouTube has not been exceptionally kind.
Get closer to that microphone, please.
Yeah. So we know that YouTube has not been exceptionally kind to firearms content creators, especially with the new rules that have come out. What do you guys see as the best path forward in the event that they say that firearms content is just not allowed anymore? What do you see as the best way for you guys to make revenue and to keep your content out there and accessible? And especially when it comes to the medium to long form.
I'm going to throw this one at one of the smartest businessmen I know down the end.
No pressure.
Yeah, that's a tough one because a lot of people think that YouTube ad revenue is like this big amount of money and stuff, and it's just flat out not, and it's been so restricted. So the one thing is you have to build your own infrastructure. So if you're going to rely on another person's server or another person's pathway, eventually that can be stripped from you just like anything else. You have to own the means of production, basically, right? If you can make your own firearms, people can't take them from you. You can make your own content, they can't take that from you. If you can store and stream your own content, they really can't take that from you. Unfortunately, to have your own network system, your NAS, as they call it, with however many, gigabytes and terabytes of data you need is difficult, but as long as your ISP service will allow it, you can run your own server, run your own website, run your own email, and you cannot be taken down unless your internet service provider takes that away from you. That's a fallback plan a few of us have. Unfortunately, it's not cheap.
All right, great question. Thanks. Let's go over here to my man, Isaac.
What method of carrying have you found to be the most comfortable?
Let's go down the line. Let's start over here with Gammage. Most carry comfortable.
Appendix.
Appendix, okay.
I started with appendix. I eat a lot, so it goes uncomfortable really quick, so I just do it on the hip now.
I carry a giant sword and a scabbard on my back. How about you, Luke?
I fly a fighter jet most of the time. Belly band.
I've gotten really comfortable with appendix.
Yeah, I carry appendix carry all the time. That's how I do everything. Competition, everyday carry, instruct. So, yeah, this is the way to go.
Yeah, I'm either carrying, outside the waistband on like a battle belt's probably the most comfortable. And then behind that, I'll carry appendix, or if I'm gym shorts and a t-shirt in Arizona, I'm carrying the fanny pack. I don't care what anybody says, it's comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, over here.
What's the best way to get new shooters or people that are interested in the firearms community connected with the Next Gen panel? Because I know it's hard to tell my friends about some of y'all whenever we don't talk all the time, but to be able to share or send videos, what's the best way y'all found to connect, but also share that to larger groups?
So the way that this has to work is physically here, walk up and just say hi. You have to go the extra step there and say hi to these people and meet them and ask, hey man, where can I find your channel? How do I share it, etc. And you have to be proactive about it, and that makes it kind of difficult. But also paying attention to things like this, and then the guys they're hanging out with. You know, like, I would argue that all these guys have a crew of their own in some way, and they're all interconnected to guys that are making great content as well. Like, this is only a sampling. You know what I mean? Like, this is only a sampling of what's really good. Anybody want to add something to it?
Yeah, I would just say, I mean, the easiest way to get people in there is literally just show them. Like, even if you don't send them a link or whatever, just show them one video that you liked, because if you like it, your friends are probably going to like it as well, and that's why you're friends, because you're probably similar. And that's going to just push that, and then same thing. When you're here, just reach out and grab everybody, shake their hand. You know?
I mean, I'll jump into that. You can also get a group of friends and take a local instructor class. You know, it's always fun to be at the range, to learn something new, and that way they'll get the bug, and then they'll stop. They won't be able to stop thinking about, oh, when are we gonna go shoot next, right? So then you start Googling and searching for other stuff that you want to do nearby, and then it's like a group thing, you guys. So that's how I started. So.
And what range do you teach at?
Oh yeah, I don't live here.
Worldwide.
Shameless plug for Santi. Where do you teach?
I'm down in Florida, so if you guys have any questions.
There you go. And you could trap. I think one of the biggest fallacies is that, like, it has to be a local guy. If you see somebody, go travel. Take the time off work and go better yourself with that time. Invest in yourself, right?
John,
all right.
John, can I jump on that one?
I don't know. Can you?
No, did he? John.
Goodness.
John mentioned something that I think is definitely one of the more important things of us growing the community is the moment you click on Santi's page. If you see Santi in a video doing something, follow those guys that Santi now tags in that video. If when we're in these environments and in these spaces, you come up, you're taking photos, nobody is anti. Like you mentioned, we all come together for the content of guns or the love of guns. But now that you're in this space and you that close to the individual, be proactive, as it was said. Go up, take that photo, and once it's posted, now start liking and commenting and following all those other people that have been tagged along that way, and just grow it. Don't allow the part of individuals when they say, oh no, I don't want to be a fanboy, I don't want to be that. That's the insecure person thinking like that. Like, if you want to grow in this space and be, you know, just around other individuals more, follow them, do the things that they're doing, and then like the people that they're liking and talking about.
Ask questions.
I have seen one of my closest friends. I can kind of see, I think he's standing over here. It doesn't matter. Sean Heron has done one of the best jobs of building a relationship with his audience. The We Like Shooting crowd is on another level of a community. And I think the biggest thing to be aware of is that none of us don't want to know you guys.
Right.
That's never a thing. We all want to know everybody. It's very difficult to know everybody, but building a relationship with our audience, you guys, is one of the best things that we all love about this. It's the people. Like, whenever you ask anybody, what's one of your favorite parts? It's always the people. So, great question.
I'd argue the majority of us are like the nicest people you'll meet. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of a jerk.
John, I don't know about that. But no, I mean, like John said, I mean, without followers, without the people that follow our content, we wouldn't be up here. You know what I'm saying? So at least I'll speak for myself. When people come up to me and tell me that they follow my content and, you know, want to talk or whatever, who am I to tell them no? You know what I'm saying? Because, again, without them, I wouldn't be doing this. So I go out of my way if somebody comes up to me and has a question or wants to talk about whatever that we have a common interest in, I'm going to sit there and talk with you because I appreciate you. So, yeah, if you got to step out of your comfort zone a little bit and go up to, find, if you see these people at these events, go up and talk to them, and they'll more than likely want to talk to you as well.
Speaking of my friends that love to heckle me, this young man right here and I did a force-on-force class together, and it was absolutely a lot of fun. Step up to the microphone.
It's funny that you mentioned that because that's I don't have a question, I have a comment. During that class, I was 5 minutes late, and he has the whole room turn around, just stare me down and make, clown me a little bit. For those of us that were here at 8 o'clock this morning, for the next 12 months, give this man hell about him scheduling.
Yes, please do. Give me all the crap about the schedule being wrong.
And just give him a bad look the rest of the afternoon.
It's like little force-on-force projectiles every time you comment. Ouch. All right, over here.
Yeah, so we all know that YouTube's kind of a pain to deal with these days. Are there other streaming platforms that you all are looking into or have heard about that are really good these days, or is it still something that's up and coming, trying to find something different?
So there's a lot of great platforms out there, but one of the biggest struggles I see is getting viewers and people like you to transfer over to those platforms. Rumble's been an incredible platform. I know Grey Hive is another platform, and I'm sure there's a bunch of others that these guys are using. But those are platforms I'm using, and the biggest struggle is just getting people to transfer to that. But once we can get a community over to those, then we can really grow those communities and become much better and be able to help support us as our supporters or us as content creators, but also help support the community by getting more videos out there that's not demonetized or censored. So we can actually say the things that we need to say and promote safety and the things that we want to promote.
Any other streaming platforms? He mentioned Rumble. You guys thinking of anything else?
There's BitChute. BitChute's another one that's out there. It's lesser well known. It's entirely user supported, so they're cut off from any sort of corporate support from companies like BlackRock and stuff like that, if you know what that is.
Okay. Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges is that we have to be where the audience is. That's part of the job. And it's less about the creators moving and more about the audience moving. Like Zach mentioned, the audience is very hesitant, especially because here in the gun community, we've been burned. We've had these attempts at individual or Second Amendment focused, firearm focused websites, and they all end up being a pile of trash. All of them are bad. Whether that's management being bad or the platform itself being bad, they just don't ever quite work out. And for somebody to replace the giants, it requires money that none of us have the ability of comprehending. All right.
Another thing go along with that is I lost my train of thought.
I'm just going to let you stew in it. Yeah. All right, we'll take a question over here.
Yeah, no,
Paul Glasgow, everybody. The
Hey,
man, the myth,
guys.
the legend.
You guys are definitely the best looking panel today. No offense to the ugly guys earlier. I wanted to point out that the average person is looking at a video online of something you guys put out. 7-minute video, right? Just roughly. Give everyone a general idea of how much actual work goes into that. Again, when they watch that 7-minute video, they're on to the next 7-minute video, right? So it's 7 minutes is all they see, but they don't see the production, they don't see the filming, they don't see the editing, they don't see all that. Just gives the average guy a general idea of how much time goes into actually preparing these videos.
Okay, so the way we're going to handle this is going down the line. One video, your average video, how long does it take you to produce? Mike, can you start that off?
Yeah, travel time included in editing anywhere from 18 to 20 hours, depending on the depth of the video.
Santi?
Wow. I don't want to say mine now. I mean, I go to the range and I gather a bunch of my stuff that I want to record that day just based on an idea. I start putting things on film. And then I'll just go back home and start putting them all together based on what makes sense. So, I don't know, definitely not 20 hours, but maybe 4 or 5 hours.
Yes, I think the number's decreasing as it goes along, at least to me. So I do a lot of more short form content. I'm not predominantly on YouTube. I do Instagram. So, I mean, I'm going to make these guys mad, but like, I mean, I may only have like between shooting and then posting the content like a couple hours. I don't know, but most of that's just shooting. And then when I get home, I have the content, and I post a lot of raw content. I don't do a lot of editing, as long as it doesn't require it, and it just goes straight up. So it depends on obviously what type of content you create. But yeah, these long form guys with the YouTube stuff, it can take a long time.
Listen, I'm actually adding the hour to the range and the hour back to the range.
Oh, okay,
Just
got
making
it.
sure.
Yeah, right. Stopping at the gas station.
I got to check in and a savings.
Typically, I mean, since we're talking about YouTube, the shooting is by far the least amount of time spent. A lot of it's spent on shooting your A-roll, like talking to you guys through the camera, and then after that, it's all editing and making sure that you haven't said anything completely stupid. But yeah, so maybe like a grand total, I'm thinking like maybe 18 to 20 hours per video of about 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, depending on if I completely lose my train of thought and stop thinking for a second, it can go anywhere from 5 to 10 hours. And a lot of that also is the communication with the brands beforehand and getting the knowledge of that product. You see the fun stuff of us shooting it, us testing it, us filming and talking. But there's a lot of stuff that goes in before that, and the communication between the companies, people that you know that you're comfortable with, or with friends. There's a lot of time involved. So 5, 10 hours usually basically on a normal video.
I spent 30 minutes last night sitting on the toilet doing a 30-second reel. And at the end of it, it deleted itself. So that was 30 minutes for a 30-second reel.
It flushed itself.
That's short form.
Too much information.
I did courtesy flush. Long form, though, I say anywhere from like a 15 to 30-minute video, it could still take upwards of about 3 to 4 hours to do something like that. For the content that I push out, but sheesh, yeah, that's about it.
So I'll give some contrast. For a typical episode of TGC News, it takes somewhere in the neighborhood of 16 to 24 hours of work. That's typically about what we end up putting into it, and that is spread out across many, many days. For our reviews, it's usually about 2 days, like 2 full days of like 2 work days of got to go to the range. Actually, it takes a little bit longer than that now that I think of it. Got to go to the range, then I got to come home and film. Got to script it, then it's got to get edited. It's dense. There's a lot. But we do things a little bit differently, so that's different. Okay, that was a great question. Thank you. What? You don't feel bad? Yeah, don't feel bad for me. That's fine. Let's have a question, brother.
I just wanted to say thanks for year 3 now. Look forward to year 4. And
thank you for being here.
I'd like to see more content on the gear. Your vest.
What do you mean by gear?
Your vests, your holsters.
Oh.
What lasts, what don't last. What falls apart. What holds up for you guys. Is there someone doing more of that kind of stuff, or am I missing it? Like your vest, your holster, your belts.
I've got a bunch of the like battle belt versus battle belt videos and some plate carrier stuff and all that out there. There's a lot of really good channels out there right now that have that. The thing with gear is cyclical, right? So it's over time, and then it changes. And then something will happen somewhere in the world, and we'll gear up our military, and then it completely changes again. So it kind of comes around every 3 to 5, maybe 7 years, and you'll have the next evolution of gear. So we're kind of in a little bit of a stagnant period right now when it comes to gear, and that's because the past 20 years, the global war on terror and everything, we saw gear go from Vietnam era Alice packs to some of the best gear we've ever seen and made, and it's just now we're kind of waiting for that next evolution. So you'll see that when it comes.
We need to find another country that has oil. Then we'll get some new ones.
Goodness.
Anybody else? All right. Great question. Thank you so much. Hey, Orly, let's take an online question from the live viewers out there. He's pulling that up.
Yeah.
Again, guys, thank you for being here. I really do appreciate you. This is absolutely incredible. This is more than I could have ever imagined what this room looked like. Sitting here last year, it was not like this, and you guys made this possible. So thank you again for being here. Yeah.
Give yourselves a hand. You're beautiful.
Incredible. And shout out again to Mainline Overland. We love them too. All right, Orly.
Yeah, so we got a good one here. This is a combination question from Chad Kelly and Traveler1970. Chad's an up-and-coming creator. He wants to know, is it best to do your own thing, build an audience, and wait for companies to approach you, or blast out emails and requests from yourself? He currently only reaches out to companies that he wants to do stuff with. Should he try more? And the second part of that, actually, let me get that for Traveler. Where was that? how does a new content creator get started with monetization and getting sponsors?
Those
Kinda
are
same
two
question.
very different questions. Repeat the first one, please.
Is it best to just do your own thing and build an audience and wait for the companies to approach you, or to just blast out emails with requests?
That's the question we're going to answer.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I think that given how saturated this, content creator market is, or arena is, you'll be waiting around a long time, I think, for companies to come to you. Now, I'm not going to say that they won't, but you'd have to put in a lot of work and build an incredible audience for them to be like, oh, well, wow, we need to send this guy some stuff. You have to come to events like this. You got to go to SHOT Show. You got to put yourself out there. So, like, what I've learned in the automotive space, what I've learned, transferring over to this is you can have the numbers till you're blue in the face, but the way these relationships work with these companies is you going up to them and shaking hands. Networking is how you get anywhere in business, in my opinion. And so, yeah, you want to build your audience. You want to have something to present to them when you meet them, but sitting around and waiting for them to come to you is probably not going to happen, given, again, how saturated it is. So you have to come to events and present to them what you have to offer, right? And then that's how you build the relationships with the company.
So I'll hop in on that one. So first of all, I feel like everybody who wants to become an influencer or hop in this community and build do content stuff, I feel like they have to find an identity, like what makes them tick, like what do they like about this community? Because there's a bunch of types of influencers, right? There's people who review content. There's actually shooters. There's people who just put out like competition stuff, just putting their matches and instructional videos. So I feel like that person will have to like literally find what actually they like in order to start creating content based on that. And then once they have that down, then you gotta go and reach out and go look for what you want, because nobody's gonna be knocking on your door anytime soon. So I will go there, send massive emails, 100, 1,000 companies, maybe 2 or 3 will get back to you, and that's the way to start.
I'm going to add something to that. This is a look inside my playbook. I think the most important thing is to offer value before asking for stuff.
100%.
Yeah. Everybody comes into the game and they want free stuff. They want stuff, whether it's guns, ammo. Like, people are just, it's ridiculous some of the stuff people ask for, and I think you have to come at it from the opposite direction. You have to walk around going, here's what I have to offer you. I want to help your brand. I want to grow with you. I want to build a partnership rather than I want free stuff. Because the free stuff market falls flat real fast. Real fast.
The best thing you can do is start that channel, get it going, build those relationships by coming out here and meeting people in person, and those relationships will create into sponsorships. The people that want to just get free stuff and get the sponsorships, it usually doesn't last nearly as long. It does not grow as solid of a channel as you want.
And consider the thought that every free thing that someone sends you is food out of their kid's mouth. And so if you're not spending money to do anything, them sending you something free for what? Like, if you're not going to do the work with it, if you're not going to put in, and not to say that you have to run it, like Luke, you don't have to do it like someone else, but whatever it is that you're going to be asking for, at least be able to provide, as it was said earlier, at least be able to provide the substance of why that's going to do me writing off this amount of money in your hands. Why does that make sense? So you got to be able to provide that. It's not just turning on the camera, being in front of the camera, and then now you get free stuff. No, like, you have to then show the substance of why that thing is going to now make money beyond you.
That's a great response. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Next question.
Mine is not a question. Mine is a request. For next year, if y'all could tell us who each one of the speakers are, where we can find them on the internet.
Sure.
Have the
So all
basis
that
for
stuff is
us.
actually on the GunCon website.
Is it?
Yes, all of that is on the GunCon website. If you go to guncon.net, all of these dudes, their faces and links to them is on guncon.net. So if any of you are questioning that, anybody watching live, there are links to find all of these gentlemen And you can also come up and give them a high five or a hug and say, hey, give me your business card, whatever you want to do. Punch them in the face. That's probably a bad idea. You could try that and see how that goes for you. But generally speaking, yes, it's on the GunCon website. Check that out.
Thank you.
Next question.
So, for the youth, because you guys are the upcoming generation of content creators, is there any focus for younger kids? Because my generation or older, luckily you have a father who is invested in guns, and then that's how you come to be. In Iowa, in the last 10 years, shooting sports have exploded. And so I know that there are probably kids that are watching your videos and alongside their parents, and I didn't know if there was any outreach that you guys do for the younger people that want to get into shooting sports or broaden their knowledge on different information.
That's awesome. Actually, if there is something like that, I would love to be a part of it because, I look at it from the perspective of my nieces, right? So my older brother, he's the one that got me into guns, right? I was always at his coattail. So when he started to get into guns, I followed along suit when I was old enough to have them. So, I've been even in my mind thinking okay, asking my brother when do you want to start, teaching your daughters when to shoot, how to get them into that because I want to help that that process too. So yeah, with kids growing up, you want to be able to give them a very responsible point of view of how to handle firearms, right? Because the world as it is right now, it's messed up, right? So you don't want to give them, between movies and video games and all that stuff, you want to give them a proper ideology of how to handle guns, how to be responsible about them, and having those types of programs would be ideal. So, to follow along with that, I actually would like to know if there's anything because I'd like to be a part of it as well.
I think introducing kids to crew-served weapons over small arms is much better because, first of all, they're fixed in place so they don't have to deal with all that recoil, and second, it also builds a really good sense of camaraderie between children. Aside from that, rimfire guns are great. Anything 22 LR is good for kids. It's quiet, inexpensive, and easy to handle I learned to shoot when I was 5 with a 1022, so.
And there are channels with young guys like the 2A boys.
Yeah.
These guys are they're up and coming and they're trying to reach that market that you're talking about, the next market. One of the other things that I think is kind of important here is that if we were to make videos for children, YouTube and Facebook would be I don't effing think so.
Or even
That's
just
dangerous to teach people about freedom.
teenagers that are involved with skeet, sporting clays, trap. Like I said, that's really exploded. What used to be a one-day event has now turned into basically a 3-day weekend for state competitions.
Sporting clays is the best thing you can do with a firearm. Bar none, sporting clays is amazing. I don't care what anybody says. Machine guns are great. Sporting clays is better. So I think reaching out and going to these events and doing that sort of stuff and just including kids is another really big thing.
Just bring your kids to gun shows all the time.
Yeah. It's weird, but it's not weird.
Yeah.
It's weird to see a small child carrying a crew-served weapon, but
I think it should be normal.
Normalize crew-served children.
Normalize kids with crew-served weapons.
Yes. That's a great question. Thank you so much. Over here.
I just have a question about bump stocks being back in the market and all that. Do you think binary triggers is kind of the new one everybody's going to go after?
No.
It seems like state to state, it's kind of getting banned. I'm from Minnesota, and now they're saying no.
They have a very long road to make that work.
Got it.
I guarantee they'll try it soon. It's always going to be something.
Right.
Yeah. They're just moving the goalpost for us, but there is a long road ahead of those triggers. That's what I will say. All right, let's take an online question again. We've got a bunch of live viewers out there. Again, thank you to everybody that's out there sitting in somewhere else in the world watching this, joining you guys right here. How incredible is that? How incredible is it that
incredible.
This is not it. This is not it. There's people all over the place watching. Go ahead, Orly.
Yeah, it's an easy one. This is from Just 10 Worse. Shout out Gammage, one of you boys, I guess. He's asking best editing app for shorts they've used primarily on their phone.
Okay. Best editing app for shorts?
I use an app called InShot, INSHOT. I know people give me crap for this being a content creator. I use Android. I don't know if it transcends into iPhone or not. Okay, Android right here. All right,
it doesn't. It doesn't.
All right, well, forget them then. For Android people, that's what I use, and it's really good. So,
I use QCut. It's super easy. You just literally pick a video that you want, as many as you want. There's a bunch of different layers, and then you can size them on there with your like thumbs and fingers. It doesn't really take much to do. So that's for like shorts and reels and stuff like that, which is easy to do. When you want to do like long form videos, it's a whole different world. But, yeah.
I would say Video Leap. There's free video app called Video Leap. They have different layers inside of it where you can do like from Photoshop to different things like that. So Video Leap would be the one I would recommend.
Great question. Thanks to that live viewer. Go ahead, brother.
When you guys get a gun manufacturer offer up a gun to you guys, how long are you allowed to keep it, and do you have to return it? Is it a month schedule that you get to do a review on the product, or is it yours?
Okay, let's try and keep that one short. We're starting to run low on time. I know everybody has a different answer. Let's just go down the line. How long do you normally keep it, or do you just do you send it back? Do you not? Mike, why don't you start it?
Every company's different. Some let you keep it, some let you buy it at a discount, but generally 30 to 90 days is when companies are comfortable letting you keep it before you return it.
Yeah. Santi?
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Yeah, that's about what I've dealt with.
30 to 90 days, and then you typically send it back or buy it.
I keep every gun they send to me because I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say that, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm the boss.
Every company's different, so yeah, but the majority of that I try to keep.
All right.
'Cause why not?
Co-sign everything those guys said.
All right. Thanks, brother. All right. We've got an open mic. You, sir.
On your guys' individual channels, is there anything that you would consider a taboo and never touch in your individual content? Whether it's a caliber, a manufacturer, a country of origin, or a specific firearm in general that you would never, ever do anything with?
Man, he's trying to get us. He's trying to get us in trouble.
I don't like absolutes, so I would say I'm gonna defer that question to Zach.
And there's really not anything I wouldn't touch because as a reviewer, I don't think you will be a very honest reviewer if you don't try everything. So if you go and say, okay, I'm not going to touch this product because X, Y, and Z, you're not being incredibly honest because you haven't tried that. So I think you should actually try every product as much as you can. Unfortunately, I can't afford to do everything, but I don't think you should ever cut off something. But there's certain things like in the sense of I won't ever allow a company to let me push something that I don't personally trust or would use myself. That's something I would not allow to do.
TFB TV doesn't touch politics, and that might be a controversial position, but I think for me personally on my channel, I also won't touch politics because it leaves my audience open to more people than just, I guess, your typical constituency. So.
That's fair. I really respect the fact that you guys are hardlining on that.
Yeah, we won't move from it.
It's refreshing.
Well, because I mean, who wants to hear like about a gun, but then also hear my political opinion? Everyone has a different political opinion, so no politics.
All right.
I would agree on that too, just because it opens the floodgates to everybody adding 2 cents, and then it just becomes a war zone in your comment section that you feel like you gotta like mitigate. Sorry, not mitigate, but like try to put out
to manage it.
Manage it and extinguish the fire, so to speak. So I try to just stay away from politics as much as possible in that regards too.
Just gear that you consider that it's not safe. I don't promote that stuff. There's a couple of holsters that I don't use because of safety reasons, but that's about it. Whatever comes to mind.
I'm the same with politics. I think Michael Jordan said it best when he was like, well, you don't think Republicans and Democrats buy shoes? So I just leave that alone because there's people that are far better at it than me, so I let them deal with that.
I actually, I won't review products I am not good at speaking on because I often, somebody asked about gear earlier. I turn down gear reviews every single week because I could turn it into a 30-second video and it'd be horribly boring. Look at this thing, it's very good. Like, I'm not the right guy for certain things, so those things I'll turn down. Like, if you don't see it on the channel, it's because I feel like I'm not able to speak on that, and that's kind of my hard line on that. Great question, though.
Thank you.
Do we have another one? All right, let's get one more.
Okay, you said with the sporting clays that you like doing the sporting clays. I got 2 questions out of that. Does anybody else shoot any sporting clays, and preference on gun?
Sorry, what was the second part?
Preference on gun, whether over, under, or semi.
Does anybody else up here shoot sporting clays, or am I the only FUD?
No, I like
I
that.
just did.
I don't shoot enough. I used to, but yeah, the shotgun preference, I guess, is just based on whatever you like. You know, if you're shooting, shooting skeet, you have most times just a 5-shot window. I mean, obviously there's not 5 straight shots, so it's a matter of if you want to just load 5 straight shots, or depending on, I guess certain ranges probably won't let you, but only load twice at a time. But I mean, it's just dependent upon what you like. I usually shoot semi-automatic when I shoot skeet.
Yeah, I don't shoot that.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say a good baseline for me is I compare a lot of stuff to I prefer over-unders, and one of my favorites for sporting clays is actually a Beretta Silver Pigeon. So it's a very nice shotgun. It's well worth the price of purchasing, especially if you're really into sporting clays.
I just bought one of those on my way here.
Really?
Like actually, I bought my first
Nice.
over-under on the way here.
Yeah, they're nice. What?
I typically shoot a Beretta A400 Excel, the older one with the blue receiver.
Yep.
I have probably about 30,000 rounds through mine.
Wow.
That is an incredible shotgun. I fit Berettas very well. I don't fit certain other shotguns. The biggest thing that people don't understand about shotguns is more than a rifle, more than any other thing, the shotgun has to fit you. Your head has to fall the same way every single time to get a consistent presentation to the target in order to make the clays break. You just can't do it if you're different every time. So I found a gun by luck that happened to fit me very, very well, and that's what I stick with.
What was your best score, though? In
Sorry?
sporting clays. In sporting clays, what has been your best score so far?
Oh, geez, I don't know. It depends on the course. It depends on the day. Some days I'm better than other. I'm typically like a 70, 80 shooter out of 100, typically. Depends on the course. I've shot courses where I shoot a 40, and I'm just, junk that day because it's a very difficult course. It depends. It depends.
That's what's really nice about sporting clays, in my opinion, is that the uniqueness of it, that it changes time to time. It's never, most of the time, the same thing over and over and over again.
Right. I also really, really prefer the difficult stuff because it makes me a better shot. Being able to hit a moving target, with a shotgun, is a skill that many, many people lack. People that shoot tactical stuff, 9 times out of 10 are horrendous with a shotgun. It is hilarious to watch. But if you get good with it, you can really, I see it as a survival tool.
Agreed.
Okay. Thank you for that question, brother.
Yes, you bet.
Now, before we start to wind this down, I want to say another thank you to Mainline Overland. If you go to mainlineoverland.com, if you're looking for something for your new truck, everybody's into this now, right? We're all doing it. I got the big old van. They do vans, they do trucks, they do Jeeps, campers, you name it. You want to go anywhere in the world that is not on pavement, you hit up mainlineoverland.com and check them out. Now, if anybody up here wants to add something, say something before we wrap this up, now's the time.
Yeah, thank you for having us. I'll start. Just want to shout out Squad Drills, Florida, worldwide. I think if I could say for the next gen of content creators that are coming out, one of the biggest things that I believe is, or should be, on the minds and the intentions of more content creators is honor. I really do believe we should be honoring those who have come before us and done a lot of things, paved the way in a lot of other areas. And I don't think that younger content creators or newer next-gen content creators are honoring those in this space that have already been doing it and doing it well. So ask more questions, honor those in front of us, and yeah, man, that's what I wanted to say.
Thanks, Gammage.
My biggest thing is thank you all. Everyone here watching live here that's actually at the show. None of this would be possible without you guys. So it is a huge support seeing you guys here and allowing us to do this. So thank you so much for that. And thank you to Jon as well. This is massive in Brownells.
Yeah. Thanks, brother. Go ahead, Luke.
Stay positive, be nice to other people, and keep shooting guns. That's all I want to say. Thank you for coming.
That's that's so good.
Now, I want to thank Jon for the invitation. I want to thank all of you guys. I'm honored and humbled to be a part of this panel. And again, I'm pretty new to this space in terms of content creation, so to be up here is honestly really, really cool. So I'm very thankful, and I hope to continue my journey in this space.
Heck yeah.
Well, I just want to incentivize people that carry a gun every day. I always go back to training because that's what I do. To literally just have an open mind, And don't think that you know it all, because that's when you lose. Always go out there, train, get better, be proficient, because when you think you're becoming an asset, you're actually a liability. You know, so don't be walking around with a gun that you don't know how to use or not proficient with it. So get some training. It's, you know, get to go to any YouTube video that provides that information if you can't afford a class or don't have the access to it close by. And that's about it. Thank you guys for coming, and it was a pleasure being here with you guys.
Thanks, Santi.
Yeah, thanks to everybody that put this together and showed up. And the one thing I'll leave you guys with is there's strength in numbers, so everybody go out there and get somebody else involved with guns.
All right. I want to again say thank you to everybody sitting here. This was incredible. Have a good day. We'll see you in about a couple minutes for Smithbusters Live.
Smithbusters Live, baby.
Smithbusters.
Thank you, sir.
Brown nose guys.
Oh, I gotta go to the bathroom.